when it gets really graphic and it's really in technicolor detail. The unspoken is everywhere and the taboos are falling like curtains, and in the end of one of those biblical movies, all the curtains are falling and the angels are. That's usually not good. It's hard to imagine that we might be near the end of not 20th century, of modern Western civ. This could be what the end of Western civilization looks like, right?
You might be right. I mean, who knows how it's going to carry forth? But we have some norms that are being broken.
Right.
Some traditions that are being ignored.
Right.
Ways of politics that we've never seen before. We're more divided than we've ever been in this country. And more polarized, and I don't see any way of us coming together. I really don't.
There you
in
go.
fact,
there you go.
I think that this whole thing, I disagree with our president when he says, "Oh, this could be civil war." That's conjuring up all kinds of issues there. But however, even that he said that shows how far we've come down the road from traditional politics and being unified in this country. We have a president of the United States who's saying that impeaching him could lead to civil war in this country.
Right.
Can you? I just that's the kind of thing that gives me shivers. It really does.
Right. Oh well. I don't think there's any excuse for anyone to avoid shivering. If you're not shivering, you're not alive, okay? You better be shivering, I think, if you are at all engaged. I mean, maybe the Dalai Lama types, the monks and all, can go up and, become aesthetic to the point of disconnecting. But if you're a real human being, it's interesting. I actually love what's happening because I do think it's testing the whole idea from 1776. I don't believe anything on planet Earth is a given, right? Everything has a subatomic particle that you could split. We haven't found anything that's inseparable. There is no matter that we can't, reconfigure. We're touching every button in the universe when it comes to technology and science. So consequently, especially with the kind of election he was an angry overthrow election. It was an angry shouting of the hell with both of you. We don't like the McCain crowd. We don't like mainstream Republicans that, have nice cars and money, and we think they're only Republicans because they're trying to protect their money. We don't think they're really for us. That really took hold. That we don't like either of you. We don't think the Democrats' benefits are worth anything. They're going to give us free health care. It's going to be garbage health care. Anything a Democrat gets you will be low quality. It will have every a problem imaginable. It will be the super highest cost because they move slow. They're all D students. A students never go into this work. It's all the people that couldn't get jobs that work in government functions. They can't compete, a little bit slow, very nice people, but you can't get 8 hours of leaning on them like they work at NASA. You get 8 hours of DMV. Hold on a second. I'll get that for you. And you wait 7 minutes on hold. They come back. No urgency. So that is real. That finally built up with people who were funding all these jobs. You know, it's one thing if that guy moves like that at the gas station, that's the gas station's problem. When that guy moves like that or gal at the toll booth, the DMV, the license plate line, and when that's now, I'm paying this guy to give me a license plate. I'm paying him. I'm working hard. He's getting a cut of my paycheck. And this is what I'm getting? And then when I go into private business, oh, yes, can I help you? Oh, yes, whatever you'd like. Yes, the answer is yes, because we would like to complete the transaction. Yes, 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 and yes. Say, why is the gap saying yes to everything because they want to sell you a T-shirt. Why is DMV making me wait 7 minutes? She could care less if you get the license. She doesn't care if you get the license. Nothing happens to her if you don't get the license. Somebody will take the complaint call. She just take the... So I believe those people paying for the bad public service finally overthrew the Democratic Party. That's why AOC and these other kids, they're going to get nowhere. Because Trump's right, I think. People who voted for Trump, if they get stuck with AOC, they will have a revolution. They won't take a bait and switch. Now it's socialism because your guy committed a foul. Your votes don't count. Their resolution was socialism and you must obey. I think they'll take the shotgun out of the garage. They will have my endorsement. I'm not that guy. But I am not going to tell them go back in the house. I'm going to say, you do what you think is right. Because I don't trust them either. And I don't see how you're going to convince people otherwise. So he's right in the theoretical, I think. In the reality, no, there's not going to be a revolution in the street. That's not going to happen. But I don't want to be the People's Republic of America in 50 years. They're a republic also. You know, people love to throw that word around, right? Oh, you know, we're a republic, Ed. So is China. China's a republic. So a republic can be ruined as much as anything else. You can ruin a republic. You can ruin a democracy for sure because the mob just drive everybody out. You know, all the smart people just go to another country, let the mob kill itself. But, yeah, they're saying he's wrong for bringing up the Civil War. That consensus is, oh, he's wrong for doing that. You know, what happens if they do impeach him? What would you think the atmosphere would be after a full impeachment of him?
Well, it's hard to say because we've never experienced that, you know. But I don't think it would get any better. I think that it will take years to overcome if that situation, if it should happen. I think just the House impeaching him and putting it up before the Senate, if the Senate fails to do it, there'll still be a schism in this country that will take years. You know, this is not just recent. I mean, this is going back 10 years. You know, we've had this kind of schism in this country for a long time. Donald Trump was just a master of pulling it all together, and you so eloquently outlined. I mean, he brought it forth, and he has that core of people that vote for him, that will vote for him, because they believe exactly what you just said. They're dissatisfied, they're disgruntled with the way things are going, and they think he's going to help them, and he'll continue to help them. And in a lot of ways, if you look at what he's done, you know, I mean, there's a lot of evidence to say he's been very successful. It's just that he's perceived as having very moral issues. Truth is a problem for him, I think.
See, not only do I think that's an important point, but I thought it was illustrated when Lewandowski was on TV. And they said to him, didn't you tell Meet the Press, blah, 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 blah. And he said, do you think I feel obligated to tell the truth to the media? You must be nuts. And I love that. I'm like, it's about time. I would never tell the New York Times the truth, ever. It wouldn't be even my address. Never. I would never trust, ever. Done, finished, zero. I wouldn't give them an obituary of mine. It's it's a newsletter for people who hate me. They hate me. If you hate me, what am I supposed to do? Just go along like it's cool? No. If you show hatred, antipathy, hostility, condescension, condemnation, I think is the worst. It's the whole thing. These deplorable. I'll tell you who's deplorable. Yeah. People you want to get out of jail. Oh, we should get all these people out of jail. That would be deplorable. The world seeing jails open. That's deplorable. Working class people distrusting organized politics. Thank God for them. That's all we have. We don't have anything but people who distrust organized politics. Anybody who trusts it, I think at this point, you have to say it's your own fault now. You had Walter Cronkite showing you what was going on. You got your own internet today. Your nephew could show you what's going on. You're responsible, I think, today. But it kills me that we're not able to see until after the fact. Everything is damage control. Nothing is prevention oriented. So I guess we have to crash the plane before we can fix the plane, which is counterintuitive to me, but it is. It looks like that's what we do.
Yeah. You know, I've been thinking about your earlier question a little bit today, in fact.
Yeah.
You said, hey, what do you think is going to happen if, in fact, we do impeach the president?
Yes.
Okay, so Mike Pence will become president.
Right.
Okay, and then there'll be an election next year, and most likely an alternative would be elected. Because I don't know how popular Pence would be and so forth, but there would be a schism in this country. But my thought is that I can remember, I was there when Nixon got on the plane and flew away.
Right.
I was there and listening to John Dean testify. And I can remember it like it was yesterday, watching that on TV and thinking, oh, my God, this is going to tear the fabric of this country apart. Well, it didn't. The American spirit is pretty strong. And I think we will endure. I think
you're so good.
In all, this is a healthy thing, though.
So good that you just referenced John Dean. Okay? That was great. Because when did you ever hear, until today, or, today as in the last several months or whatever, when have you ever heard the point of view? John Dean was a rat. John Dean was just like Sammy the Bull Gravano, an equally guilty individual who got himself a better piece of cheese by turning people in. He swore to be, up and up with. Like, I'm with you, I'm your chief counsel. So it took us how many years? I mean, John Dean's been a hero to every clown I talk to in the media. Same with Woodward. Look at Carl Bernstein now, this drunken fool who's on CNN babbling away, and how he was revered. So it's very important, I think, Americans are the only ones I've ever seen do this. We can be brutally honest when we need to be. Nixon should never have been impeached. Dean was a rat. Nixon was a good guy, made some mistakes, but a much more valuable human being than the Hillary Clintons who were on the committee to get him. The hit people, like the smarty pants Harvard people that became hitmen for the establishment to take out Nixon. So making Dean into a villain, making Woodward and Bernstein into villains, very healthy for the American dialogue, because we see now it's never about virtue. It's never about right and wrong. Never. It never is. We haven't seen one honest transaction over right and wrong in modern politics. You just pick it out, whether it's LBJ wanting the black vote, hating civil rights, but wanting, and he used the N-word. So you say, wow, that kind of evil, that kind of backstabbing, harmful, destructive evil is what we have gotten as taxpayers. That's the kind of scum we've put in there. And we should call it that. We should stop revering, stop building presidential libraries. They're not for the public. They just aggrandize these dopes. These are not great people. And in America, with the internet, anybody who wants to find out what's wrong with a falsely revered person can do it in a matter of minutes. So that should help. That should put us on a more level, less pretentious level playing field. Anybody's opinion is fine. Nobody is any smarter. Nobody's that smart in State Department. Nobody's that smart at FEMA. Nobody's that smart at NASA. How many people did NASA kill on television? How many things did they fly that were death traps? So the smartest of the smart are not that smart. So we need to stop deifying people, holding utterances as gospel. You know, imagine if Martin Luther King really lived what he said. Or imagine if Martin Luther King were held accountable for the results he got. He'd really get an F in civil rights. Nothing he said came about from what he did. It would be a zero. I like the guy. Who doesn't like a preacher? Talks about little kids playing together. I like that. But don't pretend to me that you did something for America. You did nothing. You got yourself on TV. You got yourself martyred and assassinated. But where's America because of you? No better off. Ask Colin Kaepernick how much better off Martin Luther King made his life. You know what I mean? Ask who's the one that's always on TV? I can't. But they're against everything. That every cop is a murderer. Ask those people how Martin Luther King transformed them. It would be zero. They're acting like it's 1951 and the water hoses are out at the Woolworth's counter. So if that's the game we're playing, then the other side knows that's not true. You know, intermarriage all over the place. There's black people in every corner of life. There's black people in the top 1%. There's top 1% Americans, black, happy to be black. Herman Cain's answer. They always ask Herman Cain, Herman, where were you when Martin Luther King was giving these speeches? He goes, I had 3 jobs. He goes, I never had a chance to see Martin. You never went to see Martin Luther King? He was the biggest thing in your lifetime, Herman. He was in there saving you from the white man, Herman. Didn't you go see him? I had a job. I didn't need politics. Herman says he thought it was all baloney back in 1960. Government's not going to save you. Government policies are not going to give you a paycheck. So, Lon, I'm sympathetic to those voices. You know what I mean? They're reaching me now that they have been shut out, they say, for years.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you so wonderfully outlined that. I can't disagree with anything you've said. The only thing I can say is that we need, as a people, we need something to believe in, to shoot for.
Right.
And maybe the service that Martin Luther King did was to state the obvious and to give us an impetus. You know, to give African Americans and all people an impetus to strive to be better. What did he accomplish? Right. I think he shifted the dialogue, and he created a more of an awareness, and he set goals for us. And I think that was valuable. I think the purpose of a president of the United States is to be the captain of the ship, and to make sure it's headed in the right direction, and to make sure that all the lights are on, you know, and that everybody around the world can see our ship, you know, and to represent us in a moral way. And so if that's being done now, I'm not going to judge. I think everybody on their own right can judge whether or not we're being represented well around around the world. I think that this young lady, Gretchen, whatever, her 16-year-old girl that spoke in front of the UN, that talked about climate control and what's happening, I think is the most honest, sincere voice that I have heard in years, talking about how we're all, there's a lot of rhetoric in this world about, how we're going to control the climate, right, and how we can keep the temperatures down and so forth. She cut through it all. It's all about politics, and nothing's going to change. We're going to exceed.
All right. I did listen. Yeah, I'm glad you brought her up, because I did listen to her, and I did come away with like this very powerful quote of hers. So I wonder if you heard this, how it struck you. I'll just repeat it, just a few words. But she looked into the camera with genuine anger and said, how dare you do this to my future? That was her. How dare you? And I believe she said with money and something else. She really, how dare us? And I was very struck by that.
I was as well, Ed. And not only are those her words, but I think even as well as you stated it, you missed her fervor. You missed the feelings that she had. She was so sincere, and it was well spoken. I was so impressed. That young lady is, to me, a picture of what it should be like for all people who have a real sense of the future and what should happen. She's speaking on behalf of her generation. Okay, Martin Luther King did the same thing. Whether he accomplished anything or not is to be argued. But I think that he at least set the ship going in the right direction. And I think that's all we can do. If we're in the political arena and we have a vision of what can happen, and we state it, and if all we do is state it with the conviction that young lady spoke with, then we have started the dialogue, and who knows what's going to happen as a result of that, Ed? Who knows what's going to happen as a result of our conversation today? There might be somebody out there that says, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm going to speak my mind. And if I do nothing else, I'm going to speak my mind. And like a rock in a pond, there are ripples from everything that happens. So you never know. You never know.
You said it. I was wondering why she was so angry. All right, look, here's what my thing was when she was going off, right? Because first I saw the clip, but I finally did see the whole thing. And there's no doubt, I see the sincerity for sure. But why does she think that we're bad and she's good? How does a teenager get to that and then get to say it? You know what I mean? If I would have jumped up at 16 and said, all this is bad, I'm good, they kind of laugh at you and go, you don't even know what good and bad is. What are you talking about, people you never met for? But because she did criticize who her audience already dislikes, she was given a total pass on being a teenager yelling at countries. I don't know. How could a teenager know anything about what she was yelling at? I understand how a teenager could be upset. I don't like the water is dirty. I don't like the plastic is filtered, or pardon me, the plastic is building up at the bottom of the earth. That I hate. I hate the ugliness of pollution. But how does she get off like that she's angry, like she owns something that we besmirched or something? How does that work? I did miss that. I felt a disconnect. What did you help me out with that?
Well, she's very young, so obviously she's been coached very well. So that I don't know. You bring up an excellent point that I hadn't thought about. Okay, because she stated facts. She had very accurate facts.
Right.
So she knew her stuff.
Sure.
How did she learn that? There are plenty of...
I'm just going to say, let's be honest. You turn on the news, everybody's telling you, these storms last year, the worst ever. Floods, the worst ever. Sea level in Miami is coming up. Wall Street in New York is going to be a wading pool. Everybody's got a glacier. Oh, right today, actually. This morning, a big glacier is breaking off the Alps in Italy.
Yeah.
And they're evacuating where it's going to fall because it's inevitable. It's coming. Greenland. This is why Trump wanted to buy it not too long ago. He knows when the thing thaws out, it's going to be full of minerals, and also it's a great place on the globe to keep an eye on bad guys who want to bomb you. So, to me, whether we like it or not, this is happening. I don't know if a teenager is right to yell at my civilization for ruining what she wants. I don't know if I'm supposed to take seriously what she wants. I don't know why she's speaking, taking the boat. Is this all self-promotional? Is your name on everything they print out? Because if it's a little ego trip, I get it. If it's something that'll get you known on YouTube, and I get it. But it is a little bit weird that some Swedish teenager is yelling at the world like the world did something to her. There was an expression when you and I were kids. Hey, what do you think? The world is here for you? The world did something. You know, you're like everybody else. You get your bad luck, you get your good luck, and that's it. It's not about you. So I wondered on that scale, like her sincerity, I'm a teenager yelling at, developed world adults. Like, who's she yelling at? Well, the head of IBM she's yelling at. I see. She's yelling at the New York Yankees. She's yelling at American Airlines. My God, the fumes. Say, that's kind of silly, isn't it? I mean, what I don't understand. What is that about? We never should have had all of this. We shouldn't. So where are we?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go right ahead.
Well, even the oil companies. What are we doing drilling for? That sounds really insulting to people who make their living doing this. It sounds like a very disrespectful, unknowledgeable kid is upsetting these hardworking people for nothing other than she doesn't get it. And all of a sudden, she's judged and angry. Wow. Say, that's a big inflated ego. I'll tell you what, I hope she's got a rock band or something, because that's the kind of kid that stands in front of 50,000 people and they sing her words. Because I don't know, it is a weird image, her yelling at the developed world. I don't know what part of it we were not supposed to have. You're not supposed to have the food factories that feed the poor? Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I agree with you to a certain extent. Now, I happen to think that she had every right to do that. That who are we to say, don't tell us, well, we already know that you're insulted by, you're angry by what we're doing, because we're not going to position the world climate for your future. How dare you say that?
It's not. Yeah, isn't anybody going to say to her, it's not your world? You don't own it? It's not all for you? The world doesn't have to go at all the way you think it should, and that would be fine if your ideas are a zero? You better wake up. You're just an ant on an anthill. You're not special. You're not gifted. So knock it off. That's what I would have loved somebody to say to her. What is your gift? That you got in a boat? What's your gift? That you're from Sweden? What's your gift? That you're angry at everybody? What gift is that?
Yeah, I don't know about her background, and I don't know. This is interesting because you and I might diverge a little bit here in our opinions, because in my mind, I don't mind people speaking their mind. If it makes
I don't mind that. That's fine. What I mind is she's scolding people she's too dumb to understand why they're there. You don't scold. You don't scold anybody. That what do you know about them to scold? Anyway, you know what, Lon? I have loved this, but I got another guy calling in from Delaware. We're gonna have a great discussion of movies and stuff. Do you mind if I dovetail?
Oh, go ahead and talk to him. And I do have something else moving along as well. So this has been wonderful. As always, I enjoyed listening to you. Thank you for your time. And thank you for having me on your show.
I am so grateful to you. You really started something the other day with your first phone call. And now it's going to be a regular thing that we welcome. All right. Haven't heard from Tom in Milford since before the surgery. I think that's how long ago it was. When did I have that? How long ago was my surgery? Was on the... when did I have it? 14? I think I had the surgery on 14 or 17? 18. Had surgery on 18. We missed him. We had him right there.
Ed.
Oh, thank God. I thought I was going to get the machine. How are you, Tom?
Hey, Mr. Till, what's new?
Hey, it's great to hear from you. I saw the call. I tried to wrap up quickly. I just missed you. Welcome back. How are you?
Well, yeah, no, I got a new phone. We were having issues with the phone, and then you had your teeth extracted, and then the Holocaust came, and
Right.
the zombies ate a lot of people, and
That's it.
it's
That's
been
it.
something.
Oh, it's
been
incredible.
A big
I
mishigosh.
I made 2 comebacks during the recuperation, and both of them popped the stitching. So I elongated my own recovery by not doing what I was told, as usual, Ed Tyll. I'm always smarter than everybody. Oh, I could just do this. Then I would always tell myself, it's okay if you push it a little bit. That stimulates the healing. And then both times my face swelled up and I had to run back to the dentist. Like when they open in the morning, you got to get there the minute they open. So they're squeezing you in before the day begins. Nightmare. But anyway, great to hear your voice. So much movie. That's all I've been doing is watching great movies and thinking, make sure you remember to bring this up with Tom when he calls in. But you go first, man. Talk to me. What's been going on? What have you been seeing? What have you been hearing?
You like this picture, Hustlers, with Jennifer Lopez. You love it to death. How's that? Hustlers.
I loved Jennifer in Anaconda. Like, I'll watch her in anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you'll watch the movie Anaconda, I love her. The thing that the reviewers are complimenting her, that she captured the I hate the word zeitgeist, so I won't use it. She captures the atmosphere that you feel like you are watching strippers. Would you say that?
Yeah. It's oh my, get the word out. It's told in the manner of Goodfellas. So it's told in that style, how that, it's told. It's narrated by her protege. She was in the Crazy Rich Asians, this Asian actress. She's very good in the film too. With she'd be like the Henry Hill, right?
Oh, I got you. Oh, I love that.
Okay, now you got it. Now you got it.
Yep.
And I guess she'd be like De Niro and Paul Sorvino to her.
Oh no, I
Henry
get.
Hill.
You know what? You're getting me very excited about seeing the film. She's only recently become old enough to pull that off. 10 years ago, she'd have to be the other character. I am gonna, she's a Bronx girl. That's my Bronx girl right there. Yeah, Jenny from the block.
Jenny from the block. A lot of good things can I say about it. She looks amazing. I don't care if she paid a doctor to do it, but she's amazing looking in the movie. Her physicality.
She is, her physicality.
Everything.
And she is a giver on stage. She dances her heart out. She acts her. She was in a great film. Was it 3 Days in the Valley? Or it was another one at the same time? She's a
I think it was called There's one called 2 Days in the Valley, I think.
Maybe it was 2 days. Whatever it was. She was in there.
A fortnight. A fortnight,
correct. She played, whose lover was it that was blowing her off? Was it Sean Penn? Some lover didn't want, I can't remember, but man, she was so good at acting. Like, it was beautiful acting. There was no anything but acting. And I really enjoyed it from her. She was such a good mechanic on stage. Like, when she's on screen in a dramatic role, she's all in it. Like when she was in Anaconda, it's a stupid movie, but she was all in it. And when she's in this other movie I just mentioned in the Valley, well, you got me. I can't wait to see it. How long? How long a film is it?
Oh no, it's short. It should sound like an epic, like a 4-hour epic. It's around 90 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
It doesn't overstay its welcome.
Right.
She kind of got caught in a string of mediocre rom-coms. They're really short talent, but This one, she's back. Let's put it that way.
I love her. I would never go see Maid in Manhattan or any of these stupid movies, but I love her because that's what she's supposed to do. She's like, to me, what I've always admired about her, all the way back to the Fly Girls. I was all over this kid when she first came along.
Gosh.
I liked that she was realistic. She would go on Letterman. And she'd be very realistic about life. She never talked in these grandiose, artistic. Everything was down to earth. Every answer was short and direct. It wasn't some long, rambling. That's I have to watch out for that big time. But what I'm saying is, she was a serious girl from early on, because I think anybody who's good in show business knows that it's a shark pit out there. It's a shark pool. So So she was ready, and her dad is a former New York City detective. So that's another grounding. She didn't grow up not understanding the world. I love her to death. I'm so glad that you told me about this.
What else did I enjoy that I saw? Oh, a picture called Ready or Not. That was a lot of fun, too. Ready or Not. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I haven't heard or seen. What's it about?
Oh, it's I call it a horror suspense comedy. That's what I call it. But this young girl is marrying into a family. They're a board game dynasty. It's a millionaire family from the board game companies. This board game company. And before you marry into the family, you have to pick a card out of the deck. And whatever the card is, that's the game you have to play. Right? And hide and go seek. She picks the hide and go seek card. I'm not telling you the whole plot, but anyway, pick the hide and go seek. That means they have to kill her.
Okay, so, don't say any more. So now I got it, right?
Okay, all right, yes.
Little gambit in the beginning turns into a life and death thriller.
Yeah, it's got some comedy in it. It's that's a tad blackish humor in there, But the young lady bears a striking resemblance to Margot Robbie. She's quite.
Oh,
nice
that's the look that's in now, right? That's the look. See, it used to be the other look. It used to be the little brown-haired girls for about 6 or 7 years, right? George Clooney did that movie Up in the Air, where he was firing everybody, and they brought on that little brunette Peanut. She was like 23. She's in every movie now. Then they have. Who's Anne Hathaway? She's in, and they all look the same.
Yes.
They all look the same. They're all short, skinny, brown hair, and they all do the girly thing really well. If there's a part of the film where they have to be very feminina and caring for a boy, they all have that. Then they have, another personality, and that's who is in. So Margot Robbie, is that the right way, or is it Robbie?
Yeah, Robbie, like.
Thanks.
Robbie, yeah.
So she's the new
one of the sons from my 3 sons, Robbie, yeah. Robbie.
Oh, right, Robbie. Oh man. Well, what am I looking forward to? I just saw the trailer for The Irishman.
Okay, I saw one of the original trailers. I made the same one, but yeah.
Well, how did your trailer strike you when you saw it?
There's an explosion, and De Niro's on the phone, and Pacino's on the phone, and what did they do to Pacino's face?
Well, that's one of the new technologies in the movie. In order to do, I guess, the volume of flashback, and also so you could vary to when you're flashing back. I go back 20 years, 25. That tool is artificial intelligence now. Now they just photograph you, put you on camera, and then the camera fixes your skin, works the image it has to reverse the age of what it's seeing. So that's all over this movie. All these flashbacks are going to be with that technology. which here's the review, and you and I'll judge on our own, but somebody said it's a very comforting special effect. You don't find yourself questioning the look in a flashback. Often when you do flashback, you just take a gray-haired actor and dye his hair black and stick him out there, and that's supposed to be the young him. And, it takes a minute to go, all right, it's a movie, but you go back in. They say with this, you're never going to fall out. You're going to think it's an old video of the character, not even an old video of De Niro. It's going to look like the character was previously photographed. So if that's really going to happen, I'm ecstatic. That's what I love, because they say it's a pretty lengthy movie with not a lot of action. So it'll be very interesting how this does at the box office.
Yeah. When you think of those guys, we want action. We want rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. We want bloody things to happen. We want gangster stuff, right?
Right.
We don't want a bunch of talking, yes.
And you know what we want? I tell you, I hope it's in the film. It's got to be. You can't have a movie without this. You got to have one Joe Pesci burn that starts at what? What? Funny. Funny like what? Yeah, that, oh my God. I hope that's in there because him.
You find me amusing? What, like you think I'm a clown?
That's it. Oh, my God. Now, De Niro also loves to do that same rap. I was watching Raging Bull during my recuperation, and his what? When he would do that loud what, everybody on screen stopped and froze because that meant he was going to turn on them. So those are the elements I cannot wait to see in The Irishman. Now, I think it's already been seen at the New York Film Festival. I believe that was this past weekend. So
yeah, and they seem to have liked it, right? It's getting very good reviews, right? So
big.
Am I right?
You're absolutely right, and it's got to play in some actual theaters shortly in order to get qualified for the Oscar.
Right.
Oh man, I'm excited. Yeah.
I saw the new Rambo, and he pulls the collarbone out of a guy.
I heard Richard Roper, who was an old friend of mine. Richard Roper and I knew each other, used to see each other all the time, back in the early 90s when I worked in Chicago. So Richard Roper, I admire him because he did the review that I saw, and it said, worst thing ever in a long time, but he says, let me give you, as much as I can, what some people could still enjoy. And I was like, something, he's such a stud. Like, that's what makes him special. Anybody can rip a film, especially that everybody else is ripping. It's the easiest thing. But to say, all right, I think the thing sucks, but here's what you might enjoy, I thought that was awesome. So I'm still going to see it, no matter what, because Richard Roper gave me a couple of things. Was there anything redeeming in it from your standpoint?
The last half hour has to be seen to be believed. He builds all his contraptions to get the bad guys. Another nickname people give him in the film is called Home Stallone. So
Home Stallone. That's funny.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, he builds all these contraptions for the ne'er-do-wells.
Right. Well, he's very resourceful, Rambo, isn't he?
Yes.
But is Rambo does he have arthritis? One of the criticisms was he's eating a ton of pills. Somebody said 25 pills a day to get through the... So I'm wondering, is this all arthritis medicine? Is this Prevagen? Because he's forgetting where he hides things? I thought that would be funny,
I think it's his emotional state, and he's not got the long hair anymore either. He's got the short wig.
He's got
the short wig. He's not
that's funny.
No
that is hilarious. Rambo gets a haircut. Part 4.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if it's a success, I don't think it's going to be called Last Blood. It'll be Last Blood Part 2, the sequel. He's still going to do more Expendable movies into his 80s, I think. He does have another Expendables.
I'm not going to lie. I enjoy those movies. I saw both of the Reds and Expendables. I don't know if has there been 2 already, Expendables, or 3?
3, I think. 3, yeah. I think the first 2 was R-rated, and then he went PG-13. Get back to R, if you want to. Oh, this one's R-rated. This Rambo's R-rated, definitely. But,
Yeah.
Well, Well, but I got a new phone. I got a new phone. No more things. My old phone went funny, so I got a new phone.
Is that right? Now, is it a flip phone or is it a candy bar?
No. It's an Android.
It's an Android. I hate that.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I'm so glad you brought up Android. All right, so the other day, I'm working on my website. So you make a change, and then you go to your phone to see how it looks to everybody, right? So I made a little change. I went to my phone, and at the bottom of websites, it says mobile or desktop. Meaning it's going to look one way on the phone, it's going to look another way on your desktop in your office. So I made the very big mistake of hitting the desktop button. Okay. So it shrunk my website on my phone to so small I can't see it. Now I get a hold of the web guy and I go, hey, I said, where is the button to switch it back? He goes, I don't know. I go, you don't know? I said, but there was a button there for me to switch. He goes, apparently. I said, apparently? You're a web guy. So isn't this hilarious? I have a beautiful website. It looks great. But on my phone, you need a magnifying glass to look at it. That's it. Isn't that beautiful? You slay. Now, if I go to a computer, it's fine. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just getting rid of my phone. I'll get a new phone. It'll come up the right way. But anyway, that is a part of what I've been doing. I've been working on the website, but I'm glad you mentioned Android because this is a thing. Websites and Android, I'm not interested in this stuff. It really doesn't matter to me. All I care about is what you and I are talking about. That's really all I care about.
I switched phone companies too. Anyway, I had to port the number over and everything, and
I heard that phrase the other day. Wow, look at you, porting a number. Somebody said that the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know how to port your number? I go, no speak of the Inglés. What are you talking? What are you talking about? What else? So hey, listen, if you had to bet a quarter, I'll bet you a Washington Head brand new quarter on impeachment. Are they going to impeach him, or are they at the last minute they're going to just yell at him and call it a censure?
I'll talk politics for a brief second. You guys are talking about Trump, right? Nobody else, right? Okay, Trump. I think they got him dead to rights. I mean, they caught him red-handed.
There you go.
He did an impeachable offense.
There you go. So I'm telling you, I'm betting you a quarter, and if I win, I will donate it to a worthy cause. Are you
on the side on this one? I know you voted.
It's tough for me in this situation because here's how I see the phone call. All right, and I know everybody. He wasn't on the phone alone. I mean, a lot of people heard him say this, but here's the way it sounds to me. All right, he says to the guy, "Look, everybody's talking about this Biden thing. Could you look into this because I would like to know?" Now they say that's the impeachable offense. He wants to know something about an opponent. That's where the buzzer goes off. So I say, me, I'm going to fight till the end. I say, if he made up the thing, if there was no Biden scandal, then you should nail him because he's lying to get the guy to do something for him. But if there really is a Biden thing, you can't say, oh, you're not allowed to ask about it because the guy's running against you. Oh, that's nonsense. If the thing exists.